Okay, we need to briefly check in on a small town with an absolutely massive spending problem in what my producers described as sort of like a real life version of Parks and Rec. So I'm not a Parks and Rec guy, but I will leave it to you if this could have been a plot on that show. We're talking about the village of Dolton, Illinois, that is currently investigating what seems like a massive and pervasive misuse of funds that have led to from having a $5 million surplus to a $4 million debt in just 2 years. So how do you get from that big surplus to this massive debt? Well, it's being investigated, and a limited examination of the books revealed that as of May 31st, they had a negative balance there of 3.65 million. So Lori Lightfoot is investigating. The special investigator hired by village trustees to look into this showed that there were simply no checks and balances with the records that she found. And at this point, you're probably wondering, well, this is the finances of an individual like village. Why does this matter? Well, because it's so egregious. So in her investigation, Lightfoot also uncovered spending that just doesn't compute. The report shows that there are $40,000 in unaccounted for money spent on Amazon purchases in a single day. So you can see here a log of credit card use, and you have there that, yeah, that is more than $40,000 just on the 5th of January from 2023 on Amazon expenses. Now there's a lot of other expenses. There's a bunch of money that went to Wayfair, tons for Best Buy. They got a good deal on a MacBook or something, I don't know. But a lot of money being spent. But in addition to that, village credit cards were also used to fund trips for multiple people to Washington, D.C., Austin, Texas, New York City, Atlanta, and Las Vegas. And I've never served as the member of like a village council or whatever. Maybe they need to travel all over the country, but it does seem like a lot of travel. And so there's also a big issue where police were being paid to do a ton of overtime. One officer made $108,000 in overtime alone in 2023, $114,000 in 2024, which is a lot of money for a single police officer just in overtime pay. Regular pay, by the way, was $72,000, and then the next year, $87,000. That's nearly $200,000 for one officer. Others got a bunch too. And so the Dolton police deputy chief made a bunch of money, was fired, by the way, since then, but previously made $39,000 in overtime in 2022, $67,000 the next year, and then $96,000. And so that's all on top of the salary. And so the investigation is showing that Tiffany Henyard is the target of an FBI criminal probe. More evidence is coming out. We don't know how many people are gonna end up getting in trouble for this or what the consequences could be, but that's a lot of money at the like village level to be thrown around on what seems like maybe not acceptable or explainable spending.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
But what do you think, Brett?
Yeah, I live in California where we have like swings in budget, like surpluses to deficits, even though you're not allowed to have a deficit. And that's because some year, like California taxes the rich more than other states do. And when the rich have a really good year, we have a surplus. And when the rich don't have a good year, then it's really terrifying. But you can account for where that money goes. These guys are like, I just never clocked out. I found a glitch. I just don't clock out and I make twice my salary.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love stuff like this. I love small town corruption. It's one of my favorite things as long as it doesn't kill anybody. And it's like, I love that it's also a village. That's one of those like upper Midwest things where they're like, there's a village here. It's a Dolton village. My favorite. I love this story so much.
Yeah, look, I feel bad for the town if the money was actually wasted. And again, investigations coming in, there have been subpoenas against the mayor. And so we'll see what ended up happening. For me, the reason that this story stood out and I wanted to cover it, it was pitched by producer Mike, is I come from a little village called Bridgeport, Connecticut. Have you heard of it? You sometimes pass by it when you're driving from Boston, New York, or vice versa. But anyway, we had a mayor, Mayor Ganem, and he took like a bunch of bribes or whatever, and he ended up going to prison for it. Okay, it was corruption, but there was justice. He went to prison for accepting all these kickbacks.
My brother worked,
and then he got
okay.
He got out of prison, and he got reelected as mayor of Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Amazing.
How is that possible?
My brother worked in politics for Don Siegelman, who ended up going to jail, the governor of Alabama, and then for John Edwards, who ended
Oh my
as the
God.
presidential candidate. He's like, I just can't win. I just can't pick him. I'm out.
Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
Anyway, so look, we talk about corruption, with like the Supreme Court and with the president and with our elected officials and all the stock trading and everything. And those are huge figures and it really matters. But local corruption is bad too. And that's an area, by the way, that like local community activists and things like that, local citizen journalists can potentially make a difference. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?